Welcome to a staggered page accordion album tutorial. I'm Shari Filamahala here at the G45 office, and today I'm excited to teach you how to take these two supplies and turn them into this fun and fabulous interactive mini album. This album has been designed for us by Carla Vera, and this month we're not only doing one project, but we are doing a coordinating box as well. So if you're looking for the tutorial for the box, you can find that in the description below. This accordion album is full of interactive details that's going to pique anybody's interest to want to flip through and really capture all of your memories. There's oodles of pockets and spaces to really add all of your photos, journaling, and sentiments. And we are going to teach you so many great ways to utilize everything that's going to come in your Volume 4 album kit, including some unique little photo mat stuffers and pockets, some simple photo mats, and some great little fold outs, giving you all that space. I love this staggered album. It teaches you how easy it is to use our chipboard sheets and our products, making the creative process just an easy breezy fun time. And now, of course, the back side is going to be just as decadent and gorgeous. So as we unfold this, you can see there's more pockets, journaling cards, photo mats, flip outs and folds. Carla has really outdone herself with this gorgeous accordion piece. So now to create both of these projects, you're going to need to pick up our Volume 4 album kit. And you can do that by hopping on over to our website, G45papers.com, or you could head to your local G45 retailer. Of course, you can always just grab what you've got in your stash and play along with us and learn some of these great tips and techniques. So whatever you're working with, we encourage you to grab some supplies and have fun with us today. Are you ready to work your crafting magic and turn these 12 by 12 craft sheets into a beautiful accordion mini album? So the first thing we want to do is take our 12 by 12 chipboard sheets and cut them down into pieces like this. So I'm going to give you the rectangle measurements, and then I'll show you how to do the diagonal cuts. So we want our first piece to be 4.5 by 8.5, and then 4.5 by 8 inches, 4.5 by 7.5, 4.5 by 7, 4.5 by 6.5, 4.5 by 6, 4.5 by 5.5, and 4.5 by 5 inches. Grab our Graphic 45 Kraft chipboard sheets. These are a medium weight chipboard, which is about 32 points. And I'm using my Fiskars rotary blade trimmer, and I'm going to trim these down. So they're all going to be 4.5 inches wide, and then staggering heights. So they stagger about 1/2 inch down from each other, starting at the 8.5 inch mark. So I'm going to put this up here because I've got my rotary blade at the bottom. So now this is at 8.5 inches. So I'm just going to pull it down here, and I'm going to do a little bit of marking. So it's 4.5 by 8.5, and on the right hand side I am going to mark at 8 inches, like so. And then with my mark facing me towards the bottom and my top corner at the top, I am just going to trim off this little diagonal like you see here. So I've trimmed off 1/2 inch from the right hand side. Now I've got it where it's 8.5 inches length on the left hand side and 8 inches on the right hand side. I'm going to repeat this process for all 8 pages, so you'll do this 7 more times. We are taking the Keep Life Simple paper, and we are going to be using the B side, and we're going to be cutting out a bunch of strips to hinge all of our pages together. So starting at the tallest, we have this that's 1.5 inches by 8.5, 1.5 by 8, 1.5 by 7.5, 1.5 by 7, 1.5 by 6.5, 1.5 by 6, and 1.5 by 5.5. On the project sheet, it does say that there are 8 total pieces and that there is another one that's 1.5 by 5 inches. However, that is incorrect. There are just 7 pieces that will hinge all 8 of our pages together. So then we're going to grab all 7 of those pieces, and we are going to score at 3/4 of an inch on the 1.5 inch side on all 7 of those. Before we put our hinges onto our pages, I like to create a little guide with my spare chipboard sheets. So I'm just cutting off about 1/8 of an inch piece here. That will be my guide on how I adhere my pieces together. Okay, so now I have my 2 largest pages, the 8.5 and the 8, and my largest hinge piece. And I am going to adhere, and I've got my slopes going towards the left right now. So I'm going to adhere this largest piece onto my hinge, and I want to leave a bit of a space between my scored section. So I can see that there is about 1/2 of an inch larger than I need it to be, so I know where to put my adhesive. So add your adhesive onto that piece, and then I'm just going to glue this baby down. And of course, I immediately disregarded that information I told you about not adding adhesive too close to the top, but we'll just wipe it away and cut off the excess, so not to worry. Again, I'm going to eyeball where I add my adhesive. So add your adhesive like so. I'm going to put my little guide strip next to that, and then taking my next page in size and making sure my slopes are going in line and I'm flush with the bottom. Go ahead and pull this out and burnish down. And then we can take our scissors and just trim off the excess. Go ahead and make sure you've got a good bond and fold your pages rather, and burnish again, making sure that this will fold nice and easy. And now we're going to repeat that process. So I've added adhesive to the right side of my next size hinge. This is going to go flush with the bottom, leaving a good amount of space between my score line. And grab my next page, making sure it is the right one in line and that it goes down smoothly. Add adhesive onto the left side of the flap. I'm going to put my little guide in there. Find that sweet spot. Pull out your guide and burnish down. Fold over. Burnish again, and then trim off your excess. And then just repeat that process all the way down. It's so nice once you figure out a technique and you're just in that sweet spot of just rolling through the moves. Just like I could do this. You could do this with cards. You could do this making more albums of all different sizes with this fun and simple album technique. And we're bringing it on home with this last piece. And our album is already looking good and so much fun. So the next thing you want to do after you've got all of your pages together and you've folded them, made sure that everything is lined up nice and straight, is we are going to accordion fold this. So we want to go back and forth and back and forth. So you've got a nice little zigzag arrangement going on. And we want to make sure that all of our pages are lining up nicely. So because we left that nice space margin between the pages, they should all lay flat, and you should be able to kind of manipulate them to make sure that they're nice in a row. So just kind of shifting anything that needs shifted. And then once you have it how you like it, you can go ahead and burnish it all down, creating some nice creases and folds throughout your pages. Step 10, we want to number all of our pages. So we want to make sure our tallest page has the peak on the right-hand side, and our lowest page also has the peak on the right-hand side. So this is going to be page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And that'll bring us back to 1. Step 11, we're cutting a B side from Cottage Life to be 4.5 by 5 inches. I've added adhesive to my page 1 of my accordion album, and now I'm going to adhere this flush with the right hand side and bottom. And once you've done that, you can go ahead and bond that down. And since we're on a diagonal, you're going to see we have a bit of paper left over, so just go ahead and trim that off and trim to fit. Step 12, we're taking our Sweet Rambles paper, and we've cut this to be 4.5 by 5 inches. Adhere it onto our page 2, just like we did our page 1, having it be flush with the bottom and the left-hand side, and then trim off that excess. For page 3, we're going to cut another piece of Sweet Rambles to be 2.5 inches by 5.5 inches. And then we are going to cut a piece of My Happy Place. That's going to be 2 inches by 5.5 inches. Add your adhesive to page 3, and we're going to add our Sweet Rambles first. And that's going to be flush with the left side of our page 3 and the bottom. And then take this piece we cut, and that's going to be flush with the bottom and the right hand side, just right next to our Sweet Rambles. And then trim that to fit. Step 13, we're going to take Little Things, and this has been cut to 3.5 by 6 inches. And then take a piece of Dare to Dream that's 1 inch by 6 inches. And then adhere these onto page 4, starting with your pink stripe. It's going to be flush with our left-hand side and bottom. The blue toile print will be flush with our bottom and right-hand side. Trim that to fit the page, and then we're going to take a Dare to Dream paper that's 4.5 by 6.5 and add it onto our page 5. It's nice that you can see that these images are just going from one page to the next, creating a nice seamless look. Trim that down to fit. Step 14, we're going to take Blossom Like a Rose and cut it to be 4.5 by 7 inches, and this is going to go on our page 6. With another piece of Blossom Like a Rose, we're going to cut this to 1.5 by 7.5, and then we've taken this Little Things and we've cut this to be 3 inches by 7.5. And on page 7, we're going to put the pink on the left and the ivory on the right. And then on page 7, we're going to put the pink on the left and the ivory on the white. And of course, trim to fit. Step 15, we're going to cut another piece of Little Things to be 3.5 by 8 inches, and a piece of My Happy Place that's going to be 1 inch by 8 inches. And these will adhere onto page 8 like so. Next, we're going to take My Happy Place and cut a piece to be 4.5 by 8.5 inches, and we are going to adhere this pattern side up, image side up, onto our page 9. So we have papered one side of our gorgeous accordion mini album. And I've got to say, I'm loving these little bits and pieces, which is all bringing it nicely together. But I also love that it's a great way to use up your scrap papers. So when creating this album again in the future, when you've got some random pieces left over, some strips, I love that you can use them up like that and still make such a gorgeous project. I'd love to know how you use your scraps. Do you save them? Do you throw them away? Are you a scrap hoarder like we are? Step 16, we are gonna flip this over to the back side and start working. So we've cut our piece of My Happy Place to be 4.5 by 8.5, and this is gonna go onto page 10. Adhere and trim to fit. Then we're gonna cut our Blossom Like a Rose to 4.5 by 8 inches and add it to our page number 11. Now we're gonna take 2 more pieces of Blossom Like a Rose, and we've cut this one to be 1 inch by 7.5 and this one to be 3.5 inches by 7.5. These will adhere onto our page 12. Step 17, we're going to cut a piece of Little Things that's 3.5 by 7 inches and a piece that's 1 by 7 inches of My Happy Place, and these will adhere onto page 13 like so. And again, just to show you how I like to adhere things down so I can see it, I'm just going to pick up my panel 13 so I know where my edges are on both the right and left hand side, and I can fill my bottom edge as well. Once I have the placement how I like it, go ahead and burnish that baby down. And now I'm going to take my next piece and hold that up again and smooth down. So now we're going to cut a piece of My Happy Place that's 1 inch by 6.5 and a piece of Dare to Dream that's 3.5 by 6.5, and these are going to go in this order on our page 14. Step 18, we're cutting Keep Life Simple to 4.5 by 6 inches and adhering this one onto our page 15. We're going to cut another piece of We're going to cut another piece of Keep Life Simple to 3.25 by 5.5 and a piece of the B-side of our Cottage Life to be 1.25 by 5.5. And these will adhere onto our last panel, our number 16. So there you have it. We've added all of our papers to our gorgeous accordion album. And then again, if we need to be shifting anything to make sure that this lines up straight, you can go ahead and do so now before we add in all of our embellishments and layers. Another thing to fine tune this album would be to take a nail file or some sandpaper and sand down any imperfections. Step 19, we're going to start decorating our album, and we've cut a piece of My Happy Place to be 1.5 inches by 4 3/8 of an inch, and this is going to be about 1/2 of an inch from the left hand side, equal distance from the top and bottom. Next, we're going to take this Cottage Life sticker and back it with some chipboard. You can do it like Carla has done here and fussy cut out those edges just perfectly, or you could also just do a rough estimate rectangle around the edges, so it just gives it some nice dimension without having to get too fussy about that. And then we are going to do the same with these cute little round stickers where we've just added a bit of chipboard to the back as well. So you could just cut out little squares to the back of those. And Carla has us add this on with these Dwell in Possibility cut aparts first, and then this. However, if you want to make this a pocket and you want those elements to come out, I'm going to try that on for size. So I'm going to add my adhesive on the sides and bottom, centered and about 1/2 of an inch, maybe an inch or so from the bottom. circles, and those are going to go on the right and left hand side in the center. Now these two cut aparts from Dwell in Possibilities, they can just tuck right inside and they can be pulled out, and you could add a photo to the back. Step 20, we're going to take this lovely journaling card. We want to cut out the top of this blue border here, but leaving it all intact as one image. So I'm just taking my handy dandy paper trimmer that will let me drop my blade where I would like it. And I'm going to cut and then pick that up and then cut on the other side of the blue, in between the blue and pink border, like so. Now I've got my two cuts, you can see, like this, and I am just going to use my fine tip scissors to trim this blue piece out. Now you can see I've got this little strip out, and I've created a cute little slit in this journaling card. In a U shape, add some liquid adhesive to the back side of this, and this is going to adhere onto our page 2. And with a scrap piece of our Little Things paper, we've added this sticker and then just left a nice 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch border around all 4 sides to make a cute little tag. Of course, you wanted to keep it simple, you could always just cut that as a rectangle too. And then that's going to slide into our little slit pocket in there. And then from your journaling cards, we're going to take this little cottage, make a cute little cottage core album that tucks right into the back. Step 21, we're going to take Dwell in Possibilities, and we're going to cut from the bottom right hand corner, and we want this to be 4 inches by 9 1/4. And now with the bottom edge at the 0 mark and our paper going across to 9 1/4, we're going to score this at 4 1/2 and fold over like so. And then round all 4 of your corners. So take this journaling card that you see here, it's a 4 by 6 journaling card, and we are going to trim it down so it ends up being 3 5/8 by 2 1/2 inches. And to give this an even more shabby feel, we're going to distress those edges. So just take the edge of your scissors and add some extra dimension and texture with your blade, till your edges look nice and dimensional like this. Adhere that to the top of your file flip up. With the remainder of that card and this border piece from Dwell in Possibilities, we're going to add that inside of our file flip up. So that's going to go about 3/8 of an inch from the top, and this border will go right underneath it. Now from Dwell in Possibilities, we're going to cut another border piece. Both of these border pieces that we're using are cut to 4 inches. And then just taking this cute little blossom sticker, it's going to go on the bottom left. Now take this little blossom sticker and back it with some chipboard. Of course, it doesn't have to be as perfect as this, but you do you. Add adhesive to the top half. And this is going to be our little file tab. And once this dries, it'll act as a little tab to open up this great little photo mat. Now you can adhere the whole thing, or you can add adhesive in a U shape like I've done here, and it's going to go in the center of our page 3. And now, since I left mine open, I could stick something down there if I wanted to, but if we don't, then nobody will be the wiser. Step 23, we have taken a piece of Keep Life Simple and cut it to 3 1/2 by 4 1/2, and then we've adhered it onto our page 4. Now we're going to take this blossom sticker and we're going to add it, just adhere it onto your cover of your Cottage Life pack, and then fussy cut that out. And then on the back of the left hand side and bottom, we've added some adhesive in an L shape. And I'm going to adhere this down to our page 4. Now this will act as a nice tuck spot where we can slide in a journaling piece like this one. I want to make sure that that dries before we get it in too far. And with your leftover journaling cards, once you are done, you can always take those journaling cards and use them to add embellishments with fussy cutting. So you can fussy cut out this little blossom and add it here if you want an extra special touch. Or you can leave it nice and simple like I have here, and it still looks gorgeous. Step 24, where we've cut a piece of little things to be 5.5 by 4.5. On the 4.5 inch side, we are going to score at a 1/2 inch. And then rotate this so it's on the 5 1/4 side and score again at a 1/2 inch. And again at 4 3/4. From here, we are going to diagonally trim out those corners. And now we have created a nice size pocket that will be able to hold your photos or ticket stubs, memorabilia, whatever you've got, brochures that you want to put in your album. Fold over your tabs and add adhesive. And then adhere that about 1/8 inch on the bottom right and left hand sides on page number 5. Grab your Dwell in Possibilities sticker and adhere this. Of course, if you want to add a little notch with a big circle punch, you can do that as well. From a Cottage Life signature page, we are going to cut out the left hand side. That's going to be 4 inches by 12 inches and go ahead and fold that right in half. And then from the Dwell in Possibilities paper, we're going to take this blue framed Cottage Life piece and we're going to center this on top of our Cottage Life piece. Open this up and then cut out this Cottage Life sentiment from Dwell in Possibilities and adhere this to the bottom of the inside of your file. And now with it open, you can insert this into your pocket like so. Step 26, we've taken this piece of Sweet Rambles and cut it to 4 inches by 5.5 inches. And this is going to adhere into our page 6, leaving about 1/4 inch of a border from the bottom. And of course, if you want to distress the edges on this photo mat or some of the other pieces, you can knock yourself out and do that to add some extra fun details. Now we can take this Every Day is the Best Day and you can just adhere it onto your page like so. But if you want to leave this as a tuck spot where you can still put a photo in and kind of slide it in underneath, you can back that with some of your leftover chipboard or your cover. Step 27, we're going to take this piece of Sweet Rambles that's been cut to 4 inches by 6.5 inches. On the 6.5 inch side at the top, we are going to score at a 1/2 inch. Grab this Dare to Dream sticker and line with chipboard or the package covering. And this is going to go, we just added adhesive on the sides and bottom. And this is going to go on our bottom of our Sweet Rambles paper about a 1/2 inch, making sure our score is at the top. And then taking this third image from Dwell in Possibilities, that's just going to slide right in our pocket. Add adhesive to that 1/2 inch flap and fold down. We want to leave about 3/4 inch from the bottom and about 1/8 inch from the right hand side. Trim out this Keep Life Simple from Dwell in Possibilities and add a bit of adhesive to the top. And this is going to go right at the top of our little flap. Step 28, we're going to cut a piece of Blossom Like a Rose to 4 inches by 6.5. And then we are going to score at 1/2 inch on the 6.5 inch side. So we want to adhere this at the bottom of our page 7, and this is going to go in between these two. So I do kind of want to eyeball it all to make sure that everything is going to fit appropriately. So I know that that's about good. That looks like it's about good placement, just making sure that it's straight, which it does say in the directions about 1/2 inch from the top, or the bottom rather, and I want to make sure that this folds over nicely and is nice and flush on the sides. So I have an idea of where I want to put this. I've added my adhesive to the bottom tab, which is nice and movable. Once you like the placement, go ahead and burnish that down. Open that up, and then take this Dwell in Possibilities journaling card and adhere that in between our two little file flip ups. Taken this sticker here, and I have folded that over so it does show on both sides, and it's a bit off to the right hand side. And then again from Dwell in Possibilities, we're going to take this 4-inch border and adhere this about 1/4 inch from the bottom on our pink. We are really getting a lot of use out of that Dwell in Possibilities paper, which we always love. So now that I've folded my flap down, I can see I want a little more of my green butterflies to be showing, which is lucky that I'm using liquid adhesive so I can do that. Step 29, we've cut another piece of Sweet Rambles to be 4 inches by 5.5, and we're going to adhere this onto our page 8. And we want this to be about 2.5 inches from the bottom. Next, we're going to take this 3x4 journaling card and fussy cut it out to look like this. And then adhere it flush with the left-hand side of our page, about 1 inch from the bottom. Cut out another Dreaming of a Cottage Life from Dwell in Possibilities. I've added adhesive just on the ends, so it can be used as a belly band if you want, or just giving us that extra little shadow and dimension, which you gotta love. Step 30, we're cutting a piece of Dare to Dream to be 3.5 by 8 inches. On the 3.5 inch side, right side up, we are going to score at 1/2 inch. And then on the 8 inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. And 7.5 inches. We're creating another pocket like we have done before. So again, trim out your corners, crease on those score lines, and then add adhesive. And then we are going to adhere this onto our page 9. Making sure everything is right side up and that we're about 1/4 inch from the left-hand side. Now use those fussy cutting skills that you've mastered and fussy cut this out from that journaling card. And we're going to adhere this with a little bit over, going over the edge on the right-hand side. Step 31, we're cutting a piece of our Little Things paper to be 6 1/4 by 7 3/4. And then on the 7 3/4 inch side, we're going to score at 3 3/4. So one edge of this folder is going to be longer than the other. And then we're going to take this My Happy Place from Dwell in Possibilities, and this is going to be flush with our longer edge and in the center, but it only adhered to the top. Now, if you want to decorate it up like this, you definitely can, or you can keep things more simple, so you can add in your photos and let those shine bright. So you do you, and let us know what you like. Do you like it on the fancier, more decorated style, or do you like it more simple? If you are decorating it like we have here, we've just fussy cut out a rose from our Blossom Like a Rose paper, and we have cut from Dwell in Possibilities, this Dwell in Possibilities board. Now we can take this My Happy Place folder and tuck it into our pocket we created on our page 9. So we have finished our first side of our album with all the embellishments and fun flips and flaps. Step 32, we're taking this rose label from Dwell in Possibilities and we've adhered it onto the bottom center of our page 10. And then we're going to take this Enjoy the Little Things journaling card and adhere it halfway onto our rose blossoms and about 1/8 of an inch onto the left-hand side. And then grab this fun and fabulous sticker, and it's going to go staggered on top of our 3 layers. Since this is the back of our mini album, I would advise just leaving it nice and plain like this so your photos don't get scuffed up or ruined, and we can start to add the fun in the pages. Step 33, we have cut a piece of Blossom Like a Rose to 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And we are going to score on that 5 1/4 inch side at 1/2 of an inch. And again at 4 3/4. And then I'm going to rotate this. And on the 4-inch side, I'm going to score at 1/2 of an inch. Trim those corners and fold back all those 1/2-inch creases. Add adhesive on those flaps and adhere this onto your page 11. Cut a 3-inch by 1 3/4 inch rectangle from my happy place and place this in the left-hand corner of your pocket. This circle sticker on the right-hand side of your pocket. And then grab 2 journaling cards. I've got 2 4x6 journaling cards, and these are going to just tuck right into there. Step 34, we've cut my happy place to be 4 inches by 5 3/4, and this is going to go on our page 12. I'm going to have it be about equal to where our pocket is, and I just added adhesive in a U shape on the top, the back of the right-hand side and the bottom. So if I want, I can slide something in on this side. Take this charming sticker and adhere this towards the top center of your page. Step 35, we're taking the Little Things paper that's been cut to 3 1/2 by 5 3/4, and this is going to go on our page 13. Just about 1/4 of an inch from the right-hand side, and weighted a little bit heavy on the top. And then I'm going to add a sticker. Of course, you can do some more fussy cutting from those journaling cards like Carla has done here, but I want to keep mine on the more simple side. And I've just added adhesive on the bottom edge and the back of the left. Step 36, we're going to cut this piece to be 3 1/2 by 6 1/2, and we are going to score on the 3 1/2 inch side at the 1/2 inch mark, and then on the 6 1/2 we will score at the 1/2 inch mark again, and the 6 inch. And then we're going to just do our pocket treatment, trim those corners and fold back those score lines. I'll add this pocket to our page 14, just about 1/4 of an inch from the left, equal distance top and bottom. Then grabbing this scalloped gardening sticker, we're going to put that on our pocket. Step 37, we've got our Cottage Life paper that's been cut to 6 3/4 by 5 1/4, and then we are going to score at 2 3/4 inch from the left-hand side. Now we're going to take our Blossom Like a Rose and cut it to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And then open up your Cottage Life paper where you'll have the 4-inch section on the left and the smaller section on the right with the pink floral on the outside, and adhere that onto the larger 4-inch section. Find this 3x4 journaling card and add adhesive to the front side, leaving about 1/2 an inch on the front left unadhered, and then flip this over and adhere about a half of an inch, a quarter of an inch from the score line. And then take one of these Cottage Life cutouts, and I'm just going to kind of do a nice half circle bubbly cut on one end and then on the other as well. And then this will adhere down here. Grab another one of these Enjoy the Little Things journaling cards, and we are going to adhere it right on top of our other one, but this time on the front of our file folder. And then this is just going to go right inside of our cute little pocket that we created. Step 38, we're going to cut a piece of Dare to Dream to be 4 inches by 12 inches. Now we are going to put that in our scoreboard on the 12-inch side and score at 3.5 inches, and then again at 8.5 inches. We're going to grab this rose circle sticker and add some chipboard to the back. This is a 1-inch circle sticker, so you can punch that out. And then with some more chipboard, we're going to cut a half of a circle and adhere this to the bottom. So, false alarm, that is not where we put that. So I've pulled that up, and I'm just going to rub away any signs that I did something wrong here. No mistakes here, nothing to see. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this journaling card, making sure it is right side up, add adhesive to the top 2/3 of this, and adhere this onto our top flap in the center, leaving about 1 inch overlapping. Now we are going to take this half circle sticker stopper that we've created, and it's going to go in the center, holding down our top flap. Add adhesive and adhere to the center of our page 15. Open that up, making sure you're getting a nice, good bond, and fold it all back. Step 40, we're cutting this My Happy Place to 4 inches by 4.5 inches, and we are going to add this to our page 16. Our last step is to take this Sweet Rambles sticker and add it to the top of our photo mat, and then fold all your pages up, and there you have it, a beautiful, gorgeous, fun, and interactive accordion mini album. Of course, if you haven't already done this box, you want to go ahead and hit the tutorial link in the description below so you can create this storage box for this album to fit perfectly inside. We thank you so much for joining us today and creating along with us. We would love to see what you created, so go ahead and share your projects with us on Instagram using that Graphic45 hashtag. And then if you're looking for more great tutorials like this, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel and then hit that notification bell so you know each and every time we upload a video. We thank you again for joining us, and as always, happy paper crafting.